All right, guys, we are in our Holy Week preview, a couple days ahead of Holy Week starting, and we are looking at what it means to make something holy, to set it apart as holy. Yesterday, I showed you in Mark chapter 10, starting in verse 17, the rich guy who does not really want to follow Jesus with everything he has, and because he won't do it with everything, he winds up not following Jesus at all, because the cost of following Jesus is everything. Jesus is about to go to a cross. It's Holy Week. He's going to be dying on a cross a week from now. Okay? And this guy wants to follow him, but he has not counted the cost. He does not understand what it means to follow Jesus. He thinks Jesus is going some particular direction, and he's wrong about that. And so he goes away sad when he starts to get a glimpse of what Jesus is actually all about. Okay? Peter pointed out, hey, we left everything to follow you, and Jesus affirms that. Yes, that's true, and you're going to have a reward and all this, but they still don't get it. Holy Week is way harder than you think. Okay, and anyway, what we got from it as application was give Jesus everything, set it apart, and I specifically said, hey, start with the sin. That's where Jesus started with this rich guy that came to him. He said, hey, you already know the commandments, so start with obeying those. If you're disobeying them, let's get that part right. If you're aware of sin in your life that you're just tolerating and continuing to have there, get rid of it. That is step one of Holy Week. Get rid of it and follow Jesus. The cost is going to be way more than that, but if you can't even do that, my goodness, you're in trouble. Okay, so let's read on ahead. We're in Mark 10. I'll point out a couple things here in verse 33. He's with... He's with his disciples. Go back in verse 32. They were amazed. Those who followed were afraid. Taking the 12 again, he began to tell them what was to happen to him, saying, see, we are going to Jerusalem. Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death and deliver him over to the Gentiles. They'll mock him, spit on him, flog him, kill him, and after 3 days he'll rise. He just said that. Like, he's predicting his actual death. Like, very directly, all those things happen. He's right. He knows exactly what's going to happen before it happens, and he's going there on purpose. And they just got done dealing with this guy who won't follow him because he's holding on to his money. And Jesus is like, I'm going to give up more than just money, man. If you want to follow me, money's going to be the easy part. Okay? That's going to be the easy part. So, what happens next? They don't get it. All right? How would you? Why would you get it? You wouldn't. It's so mind-boggling what Jesus is about to do. So James and John, the sons of Zebedee, the guys that we looked at yesterday, Mark chapter 1, who when Jesus said, follow me, they did. They left their father, specifically it says, like they left their family business, they left their dad, they left it all and followed him. So these guys are people who have given things up, important, significant things up to follow Jesus. But they still don't get it. They're still looking at what they can gain from him. Instead of what they can give up for him. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came up to him and said, teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you. Whoa! Don't you? I mean, on one hand, it's kind of ridiculous. Has anybody ever come up to you and say, hey, we want you to do whatever we say? One of my kids actually did that to me once. Hey, Daddy, will you do whatever I ask? I answered it very similar to the way Jesus answered, which was, what do you want me to do? Tell me what you're going to ask before I commit to doing it, right? And what they asked for, they said to him, grant to us that we can sit one at your right hand and one at your left in your glory. They're looking at what they can gain. Jesus says, you don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I'm to drink, or to be baptized in the baptized that I'm going to be baptized with? They said, we are able. He says, no, you're not. To sit at my right hand is not mine to grant. Okay? And so the rest of them are mad. It says when the other 10 heard it, they're indignant because they're mad because they were like, oh, we wanted to get into that. You can't die for Jesus' sins. You can't be. Jesus is about to go do something. He has no sin. He's going to do something that only Jesus can do. They cannot do it. And so he cannot grant. The only people that are mentioned actually being on the right and left-hand side of Jesus are the two thieves on the crosses beside him on the right and left-hand side. All right? I don't know if that's specifically what he had in mind here, but it's certainly what happened, and James and John were not there. We want to be at your right and left when you enter into your kingdom. Well, guys, sorry, I don't think you know what you're asking. You don't know what my kingdom's going to really be about. I'm giving it all up. I just told you I was going to die and resurrect. All you clung to is, hey, we want to have some power here. Okay, now let's skip on down farther. There's a guy called blind Bartimaeus. Okay, Bar means son of. Timaeus is Timaeus. You know who Timaeus was? Me either. He's nobody. He's son of. We don't know who this guy is, but he's a really interesting person. They came to Jericho. That's on the way to Jerusalem. As he was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a great crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, the son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he cried all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stopped and said, call him. And they called the blind man, saying to him, take heart, get up, he's calling you. And throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. And Jesus said to him, what do you want me to do for you? And the blind man said to him, Rabbi, let me recover my sight. And Jesus said to him, go your way, your faith has made you well. And immediately he recovered his sight and followed him on the way. All right. So this guy says the same thing, or sorry, he doesn't say the same thing, but it's a parallel to what James and John said. Hey, Jesus, we want you to do whatever we ask. All right. They called him teacher too. I don't know if you caught that verse 35. They called him teacher, same thing as that other guy had called him. The rich guy, they called him teacher. They don't understand. They're talking to God. Okay. Anyhow, it's a highly respectful. Calling a teacher, a rabbi, that's a term of extreme respect. All right. They're showing him a lot of respect. They're not showing him worship. You don't worship a teacher, no matter how good they are. Right. Okay. So he says, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. That's similar to, hey, Jesus, we want you to do whatever we ask. But Jesus says to him, what do you want me to do for you? Same question he asked James and John. Hey, Jesus, we want you to do whatever we ask. Well, what do you want me to do? This guy, what do you want me to do? This guy's answer is, hey, I want to have my sight. And Jesus says, done. That's that. You're healed, buddy. Pretty cool. James and John did not get what they asked for. They got a kind of a lecture about why they weren't going to get it and why that's not really the right question to be asking. But this guy gets it. And Jesus says, what do you want me to do? I want sight. Jesus heals him. All right, but let's look at this guy a little farther, and then we'll get some perspectives and principles for what Holy Week should be about for us. What did this man give up? Holy Week is about Jesus giving up his deity, that he is God, giving it up, dying on a cross. That's what it's about. It's about the road to crucifixion. If anybody wants to be my disciple, do you want to be Jesus' disciple? Do you want to follow him? Do you want to be Peter, James, John, Andrew? Do you want to be these guys and follow Jesus? He says, if anybody wants to be my disciple, he must deny himself, take up his cross daily and follow me. And Jesus says, I'm heading here. This is where I'm headed. We looked at it in verse 33. We're going to Jerusalem. That's where I'm headed. I'm going to be delivered over. They're going to condemn me to death at the hands of the Gentiles. It's going to be horrible. Okay? So, Holy Week's about giving things up, all the way down to the life itself for Jesus. He gave up his own life for us. And so Holy Week is about us giving our lives to him. All right? Give up your sin is what we said yesterday. This guy, though, what does Bartimaeus give up? Remember, James and John are trying to gain something. Bartimaeus is also trying to gain something. Have mercy on me. He wants mercy. Give me my sight. He's trying to gain something. But what does he give up? An interesting little note here. Verse 50. Well, before we even do that, he gives up some dignity, first of all. He heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth. He began to cry out, say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he cries out all the louder, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. So he is giving up his dignity. The crowds, many are rebuking him. Hey, quiet down, buddy. You're an obnoxious loudmouth. Quiet down. And he calls all the louder. So he gives up his dignity. All right? He's given up. He's like, I'm desperate, man. I need Jesus. I don't care what you say. I need Jesus. You're in my way to Jesus. I can't see him. I don't know exactly where he is. I don't know how to get to him. This other guy, verse 17, the rich guy, he ran right to him. Like people got out of his way. Oh, there's an important guy coming. Let him get to Jesus. BarTimaeus, no, you're not important. You're son of Timaeus. I never heard of Timaeus, and you're blind. So quiet down, man. Jesus has some more important things to deal with than you. So BarTimaeus gives up his dignity of worrying about what other people think, of caring the least bit about him. He just wants Jesus. Okay, but what else does he give up? Skip down. Verse 50. Throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. All right, it's just a kind of an aside, like a little note on the side, throwing off his cloak. But think about what that means if you're blind and you have a cloak and you're a beggar. What if you can't find it when it's over? What if Jesus doesn't heal you and you're still blind and now you don't have a cloak? And you know, I assume you know, studying the Bible, clothing is extraordinarily important. People put all kinds of importance on clothing and how you're dressed and everything else. And I don't think this guy had, I don't know exactly what kind of cloak he was wearing or something, but my guess is, he might have been stripping down to some kind of grungy looking undershorts. That's what it seems to me is happening. Why did he throw it off in the first place? To get to Jesus faster. That's the obvious reason. It was kind of slowing him down. All right? He gives it up to get to Jesus. Rich guy had all kinds of stuff, wouldn't give any of it up to follow Jesus. He just wanted Jesus to validate him. BarTimaeus has nothing left to validate. He's like, I've given up my dignity. I'm going to shout, I'm already blind. I got nothing to lose. The cloak is slowing me down. I'm jumping up and it got caught on a bush, or I tripped on it, or it was somehow was slowing him down. Well, then rip the thing off. I'm getting to Jesus as fast as I can. And I'll leave whatever behind. And I don't know if I'll ever get it back, and I don't care. I'm getting to Jesus. These guys are kind of mean to me. They might steal my cloak. They might not help me find it again. What do I know? I just want Jesus. Okay? He gives up something to come to Jesus. Jesus says, what do you want me to do for you? A whole different attitude, too, if you think about this, James and John. Like, hey, Peter, hey, Jesus, we want you to do whatever we ask. I don't know what tone of voice he used, but I can imagine if it was me, and obviously it's not because I'm not Jesus, but it'd be kind of an eye roll. What do you guys want from me? What do you want me to do? This guy coming running, Jesus has already summoned. Jesus has asked for him to come. Okay? He didn't ask for that rich guy to come. He didn't ask for James and John to come. BarTimaeus, he asked for him to come. What do you want me to do for you, Bar? Why would he call him Bar? Sorry. What do you want me to do for you? What can I do for you? There's an obvious eagerness in Jesus here. Okay? He wants to do something for the guy. Rabbi, let me recover my sight. Jesus said to him, go your way, your faith has made you well. Immediately he recovered his sight and followed him on the way. And the very next page, it's into chapter 11. Now when they drew near to Jerusalem, to Bethphage and Bethany, the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two of his disciples, and we're going to get to the triumphal entry Palm Sunday. All right. Who's with Jesus for Palm Sunday? Not the rich guy who wouldn't give up anything, but BarTimaeus, who had almost nothing anyway. He gave up what he did have to get to Jesus and regained his sight, and now he's with Jesus. He followed him on the way. And he has seen Jesus personally. He has met him personally. Who is on the right and left of Jesus? Well, they get out of the way and let BarTimaeus come in. So I don't know that he necessarily walked to the right or left of Jesus the whole way into Bethany and Bethphage and Jerusalem, but he got a straight line to Jesus, straight up to Jesus. Meanwhile, James and John, who had been asking for it, Jesus had kind of turned them away and been like, sorry guys, that's not how this works. Okay? So what's the principle here? Well, he gave up something to get to Jesus. What's holding you back from Jesus? He got rid of it. What's holding you back from Jesus? What are you trying to get from Jesus? Are you trying to get Jesus, or are you trying to get something from Jesus? Give up that thing you want from Jesus. Give that up. Jesus, I just want you. You're enough. I don't need you to do anything for me. I realize you're going to die, so That's plenty for me. I don't need anything else. I'd like my sight back. He says there's nothing wrong with that. Jesus has obviously asked him specifically hey, ask me for a miracle. Is essentially what Jesus says. So there's nothing wrong with him asking that. But he's giving things up to get to Jesus. He's not going away sad because he doesn't want to give things up. He's not going to Jesus demanding and asking for Jesus to do something just for him, just an extra privilege or something. Okay? He just wants Jesus, throws off his cloak to get there. And there's one other thing. So yesterday we said give up any sin in your life to get to Jesus. Today I'm going to say give up anything that slows you down to get to Jesus, even if it's not sin. All right, but there's another principle in here. Who can you serve is another principle. Remember, James and John wanted people to serve them. You sit at the right and left hand of Jesus, people are going to serve you. And Jesus says to them, it shall not be so among you, but whoever would be great among you must be your servant. And whoever would be first must be slave of all. For the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and give his life as a ransom for many. Give up sin, give up things that are in the way that slow you down from Jesus, and go serve others. Jesus is going to put that into practice. Part of Holy Week is when he washes the feet, right? He's going to serve. He's going to act like a servant to him. And he says, I've come not only to serve, but to give my life up. And he's, of course, going to do that. Good Friday, crucified on a cross, right? So we know these things. These are things that he says, and then he does. So give up sin. Give up anything that slows you down in chasing Jesus, even if it's a perfectly fine thing. Give it up and serve. Look for somebody to serve. Specifically, if you wanted to be very direct with Mark 10, I would say give up money and give it to the poor is what he told the rich guy to do. And the same idea, give up and serve. All right, but I don't care. I don't necessarily think it has to be money, but if money is a false god to you that you won't give up for Jesus, then give it up for Jesus, because my goodness, better than going away sad, right? Serve people, serve someone. Look for someone this week, every day this week. That's how you make Holy Week holy. You set it apart by saying, not me, how about you? How about I help you out? Okay? Those are some ways that you can make Holy Week holy. God bless you. We're going to keep digging into this. We'll be preaching on it Palm Sunday, and we'll just keep moving through it for this coming week. Glory to God. Praise the Lord. I'll see you then.